What was Neo developing in Metacortex? The Matrix is still full of unanswered questions, more so since the premiere of Matrix Resurrections. Thus, we have returned to our series of videos where we help to answer as many of those questions submitted by our members and subscribers. Do you want to know why Agent Smith could not control Neo, or why the Analyst lied at the end of Matrix Resurrections? Then welcome to Matrix Explained.
Welcome to the desert of the real.
Our first question comes from user Crapper420. My question is, how did Neo first learn about Morpheus? How he learned his name and who he was? And how did he know that the Matrix was called the Matrix? A very interesting set of questions, ones that can be explained in the first movie. Pay attention to what is shown on Neo's monitors. There are news articles reporting that Morpheus is a terrorist and is persecuted as such by the law. Later, when Neo meets Trinity, he casually mentions the incident in which she hacked a government system.
The Trinity? That cracked the IRSD base.
That was a long time ago.
So in Neo's eyes, he sees both Trinity and Morpheus as cyber terrorists hunted by the government, similar to the real-world hacker group Anonymous, but much more extreme. But how did Neo know that the Matrix was called the Matrix? Back to Neo's computer monitor, the words "the Matrix has you" appear, and this phrase is repeated in many Matrix comic books. The human resistance was probably spreading the phrase everywhere on the net to plant the seeds of doubt in those people who were alone on the internet. We think that Neo was a type of conspiracy theorist who lived on the internet looking for clues about Morpheus and Trinity. He needed to understand what the Matrix was because he believed that maybe it was a mega government conspiracy. But nothing was further from that. Neo came to Morpheus out of curiosity, and the rest is history. And it all started with a minor curiosity about cybercrimes. Our next question comes from Austin Powers 8422. It would be interesting to know more about Thomas Anderson's life from the first movie. For example, what exactly does he develop at Metacortex? What computer crimes has he done? What people does he know, trust, or cooperate with? For example, the White Rabbit guys. Let's begin with what exactly is Metacortex, the corporation. This company is dedicated to the development of computer software and artificial intelligence. You could say that Metacortex is the film equivalent of Microsoft or Facebook, which ironically is now called Meta. Thomas is apparently a programmer for the company. And no, it's not a coincidence. There is a reason why Neo is a programmer in both the first and last Matrix movies. This is a reflection of the man he was, or who he will become, an entity capable of modifying and improving the Matrix. In 2 issues of the Matrix comics, other programmers were being used by the Matrix. In the comic title System Freeze, there is a woman who nearly dies after trying to climb Mount Everest. She was rescued and tasked by an agent to improve some important Matrix systems. There are other stories with humans who could modify the Matrix, which leads us to believe that the architect needs human programmers for their natural creativity and ingenuity. The machines may not have yet developed the skills to be artistic or creative. Perhaps the best way to build a realistic simulation is with a human's creative input. Maybe that's why the Analyst had Neo create other simulations. The integral anomaly does create the foundations for the next simulation. This is why the One will always be half man and half machine, and why Thomas was again working for a software company. Now, what crimes have Neo committed? The crimes that Agent Smith glances over Thomas's criminal file are most likely related to cybercrimes such as hacking or selling valuable and private Metacortex information on the dark web. Neo also developed illegal programs to do things like erase someone's parking tickets. But Neo's worst crime was making contact with Morpheus's people, and that is why he was arrested and interrogated. Besides his nightlife as a minor hacker, Thomas was an average Joe. And about Neo's inner circle, it was a very tiny circle. He had no friends or lovers. Neo might have had trust issues instigated by bullies. We know this because of the home videos of Neo's life from his youth being broadcast in the many small TV screens in the architect's office. Moving on to the next question from user LaHistory Corrigy. Question about 4. Why revive Trinity and Neo, keep them under control, torment them, only to say at the end of the film that the energy of people wanting to stay in the system was enough? The Analyst goes on to say how complicated it was, that he had almost given up, but in the end it was useless. There are 2 probable answers. 1. The Analyst did not want to accept his defeat. Or 2. things went according to plan. We already discussed this dilemma in our video about Tom Anderson not being the Neo from the original films. We said that it appeared that Neo and Trinity in Matrix Resurrections were reconstructions made by the Analyst in his attempt to replicate the energy of the integral anomaly. The ending of Matrix 4 is nothing more than a facade to make Neo believe that he is in control again, just like at the end of the first film. However, Neo doesn't know what is going on behind the curtain. The parallels between the endings of the first and fourth films are painfully obvious. They both end with the hero's naive sense of hope and with the false sense of victory. What happened at the end of Matrix Resurrections was the conclusion of the grooming cycle of the new Neo and Trinity. Now they must restart the Matrix again. We think that they are still stuck in the same cycle, maybe for the 1000th time. Nothing has changed. The Analyst didn't fail. It was all just part of said cycle. And our last question of the day comes from Marvel X42. One thing I still don't understand, forgive me if you have explained this before, is this. In the first Matrix film, Smith and the other agents made Neo's mouth physically closed by having skin grow over it or something. They changed Neo's actual body in the Matrix. Why did they never do this again? I mean, it would have come in real handy if Smith was fighting Neo and Smith just caused Neo's hands to turn into noodles, or have Neo's neck constrict to where Neo couldn't breathe, or made Neo's eyelids grow shut, or any of the other infinite strange things that he could have done to his body, or any of the other people they have fought. Am I missing something? Not really. The answer is quite simple. When Thomas was arrested by the agents, he was completely trapped inside the Matrix, both his mind and his body. When Neo escapes the simulation, he enters the Matrix through a pirate signal. Remember that the red pills are off the grid. The Matrix has no control over them, and thus the agents' abilities do not work on them. They cannot even detect their intruders. Smith and the other agents can hijack anyone who is connected to the simulation, as entrapped inside their pods. This is why Morpheus warns Neo that anyone inside the Matrix could be an enemy. The anomalium introduced in Matrix Resurrections was built to increase the machine's control over Neo and Trinity. While trapped inside these new highly secured pods, the machines frequently modified Neo and Trinity's digital appearances to keep them hidden. Their memories were also scrambled. This new advanced control system was created by Sati's father, Rama. We will talk about his creation in another video. Behind the Smith and Neo rivalry lies an analogy. When being part of the system, they have the power to silence us because we have something to lose. But after escaping from said system, we are then labeled as villains. A small price to pay for freedom. But do you agree? Let us know in the comments below what other questions you would like us to answer.
At MetaCortex, we're crafting the future today, working at the forefront of a new reality, virtual, augmented, crafted for you with proprietary machine learning and AI. We are among the top software companies in the world because our employees know they are more than just themselves. They're part of a whole. That's why they've repeatedly voted us as one of the most respectable software companies on the planet. Come, join us today, MetaCortex. For us, you are the one.
For Matrix Explained, please leave a like and subscribe. And thank you for visiting the Desert of the Real.